So, dear students, in the last classes already we have discussed what up to article 32, that is right to constitutional remedies. In this class we are going to discuss what National Human Rights Commission. So, we can say it is what NHRC. National Human Rights Commission means what? National Human Rights Commission is what? It is a commission formed by government to protect the fundamental rights or to protect the rights of the citizen of the India. The structure of National Human Rights Commission is what? Consists of a chairperson of some members. They are appointed by the President of India. So, there is a chairman and some members are there, and is appointed by whom? Appointed by the President of India. The chairperson is retired Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India, and who will be chairman of the National Human Rights Commission? That is the retired Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India. Now, function of the National Human Rights Commission. What is function? What is the function of the Human Rights Commission? Functions of the Human Rights Commission, National Human Rights Commission. Okay. Number one, what is the function? Number one, that is inquires into violation of human rights. Inquires into violation of human rights. Human rights. First one is what? First one is what? Inquires into violation of human rights. Already I have told you, that is to protect human rights. Who is the main body? That is the National Human Rights Commission. Number two, it reviews the safeguards. It reviews the safeguards for the protection of human rights. The second one is what we have got? It reviews the safeguards for the protection of human rights. Number three, it inquires into complaints. It inquires into complaints filed by individuals or by anyone, right. Number four, it suggests remedial measures. It suggests remedial measures for the protection of the rights, for the protection of the rights. So, dear students, what we are going to discuss, you see, it is a very important topic, that is the functions of National Human Rights Commission. We are discussing about functions. what are the main functions of the National Human Rights Commission? So, there are many functions, just we are going to discussing some functions of the National Human Rights Commission. First one is, we are telling, that is inquires into violation of human rights. Could you understand? That is, if human rights is violated, then who inquires? Who inquires? If any rights of the human, if it is violated, then who inquires? That is National Human Rights Commission. So, it is a very important body, it is a very important commission. Number 2, it reviews the safeguard for the protection of human rights. Dear students, that is safeguard of the protection of the human rights, that is it reviews. By whom it is reviewed? By whom it is reviewed? That is National Human Rights Commission reviews the safeguards for the protection of human rights. Third one is what? It inquires. Again inquires what? That is the complaints filed by the individuals or by anyone. If anyone complained against anyone, if any individual filed any complaints against the government or by any institution, filed complaints, then who inquires? That is also inquired by whom? By National Human Rights Commission. Is it right? Could you understand? Last one is what? It suggests remedial measures for the protection of the rights. That is how it is protected. How it is protected? Some remedial measures be taken. Some remedial measures be taken by National Human Rights Commission. He can suggest. Human Rights Commission may suggest for what? For the protection of human rights. Could you understand? So, already we have discussed what? That is the functions of the Human Rights Commission. Dear students, fundamental rights. Fundamental rights is a basis for civil liberties movement in India. Basis for civil liberties movement in India. To enjoy fundamental rights, there are some movements occurred, and these movements can call what? Civil liberties. You can say any movement what is going to be held in India. In Assam may be held, in Tripura may be held, in Uttar Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in any states there are many movements. So, these movements are what? These movements are for what? For civil liberties movement. Only one example we can produce in front of you. That is, in 1972, the Chipko movement was started in an interior village in the Garhwal district. The word Chipko means what? Hugging the trees. Chipko, what? The word Chipko means what? The hugging trees. It was an environmental movement to protect the rights of the Dalits and other against the cutting of the trees by forest contractors. In Garhwal district, that is forest department, along with contractors, they are cutting some trees. In this village, some people complain against the cutting of the trees. They started at last movement for the protection of the trees, and at last what we see? We see this movement is gradually become a very big movement. So, it is a civil liberty to protect their fundamental rights. Why it is fundamental rights? Because this is a source of income from the jungle. They collected firewood and many items also they produced from the trees. So, dear students, it is what? It is called Chipko movement, and Chipko movement later known as what? Civil liberties. So, we can say fundamental rights also address what? Basis for civil liberties movement in India. Critical evaluation of fundamental rights. Critical evaluation of fundamental rights. That is it right for the people of India or it is wrong? We can say, is it what? It is a critical evaluation. What? We say it is critical evaluation of fundamental rights. Critical evaluation of fundamental rights. And before critical evaluation of fundamental rights, we discussed was Chipko movement. Chipko movements. Chipko movements, that is what it is? It is a what? It is a it is a movement for civil liberty. It is a movement for civil liberty. What it is? That is Chipko movement. Next, what we are going to discuss, that is critical evaluation of fundamental rights. The main points of criticism against the fundamental rights, that is part 3, are as follows. That is, first one is, the Constitution of India makes no references. The Constitution of India makes no references to economic rights. Yes, we can agree. Why? In all these fundamental rights, nowhere we can find what? About economic rights. So, it is a criticism against fundamental rights. That is, Constitution of India makes no reference to economic rights or about economic rights. Is it right? Next, number 2, the Constitution authorizes the state, the Constitution authorizes the state to impose restrictions on the fundamental rights, What we are saying about critical evaluation of fundamental rights? In regards to the critical evaluation of fundamental rights, or if we criticize our fundamental rights, we can say what? We can say the Constitution of India makes no reference to economic right. Is it right? That is, up to from 14 to 32, there is no any economic right what is given in our Constitution, but only one is there, what? Right to property, which was in under Article 32, but at present it is not there. So, we can say that the Constitution of India makes no reference to economic right, and second one is what? The Constitution authorizes the state to impose restrictions on the fundamental rights. What? The Constitution authorizes the state to impose restrictions on the fundamental rights. Yes, already I have told you, on the proclamation or on the declaration of emergency, the state has the power to what? Restriction on the fundamental rights. That is, fundamental rights can be suspended. This power is where? That is, Constitution authorizes the state. That is, Constitution authorizes the country. On what purpose? To impose restrictions on the fundamental rights Could you clear? Next, directive principles of state policy. 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 Dear students, what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss what? Directive principles of state policy. So, already we have discussed what? Fundamental rights in the constitution. So, it is discussed in part what? Part 3. Fundamental rights of the people of India is discussed in where? That is in part 3. But directive principle of state policy, it is discussed in where? It is discussed in part 4. It is discussed in where? That is, it is discussed in part 4. And article 36 to what? 51. Is it right? That is, after article 32, 33, 34, 35 is another matter. So, actually it is also related to fundamental rights. So, next article 36 starts what? Next article 36 starts what? That is directive principle of state policy, and up to 51 it is discussed, right. Part 4, that is articles 36 to 51 of the Constitution of India is what? Is titled as directive principle of state policy. Could you understand? Next, there are positive obligations of the state towards the citizen. They are the duties of the state. And dear students, we can say directive principles what? Directive principles aim at a what? For the welfare state of the country. Welfare state means what? That is welfare state, welfare of the people of India. That is a scheme, that is a what? We can say that is directive. What directive? That is directions towards the state, that is directions towards the government. Dear students, again I am telling, that is directive principle of state policy discussed in where? Discussed in part 4 and article 36 to 51. But article already we have told what? Article 14 to 32, that is some fundamental rights discussed. But after article 32, 33, 34, 35, it is also related to fundamental rights. What? It is also related to fundamental rights. After 35, we discussed what? We discussed directive principle of state policy, and up to 51, it is also directive principle of state. Next class, we will discuss what directive principle of state policy, what are the features of the directive principle of state policy, and also we will discuss what? Differences between directive principle of state policy and what? And fundamental rights. So, thank you very much.